our backs today. So go ahead and come on down onto the ground, middle of your mat. And once your spine is fully planted onto the earth, bend your knees and heel toe the feet apart. Let the knees knock together, posture known as broken bridge. And then press into the backs of your upper arms to shimmy the shoulder blades together. And then the palms face up, out toward your sides. And if it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes or a soft gaze up toward the sky. And nothing in particular. Let's take a few rounds of clearing breath to settle into our practice, taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through your mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time like that. Deep, deep breath in and out. Giving your physical body the opportunity to just be still. Giving your mental body an opportunity to catch up by taking this moment of stillness. And will help to encourage the mind to catch up with stillness, if you will, or to come to stillness as a reflection in the body with the breath. So we'll focus in on the subtle life force we call prana in yoga that rides on the breath. And you don't have to quite alter anything in this moment, change or quote unquote fix anything. Just bringing your full awareness to the flow of in and out breath. And maybe you can tune in with the passage of air as it flows in and out of the nose. Become aware of all the places in your body that subtly move and shift as you breathe in and out. Now, admittedly, we're not doing anything particularly profound here. We're paying attention to our breath, which is often overlooked. Breath is something that is always happening, even when we sleep, obviously. But it's that vital element that we need, air, in order to stay alive. And it's the first element on the top of the list that if we are without that, we will cease to exist. Unlike any other substance such as earth, our food, or water, our drink, our fluids that we take in, even warmth, the fire within us. One of the magical things about the breath is that it's always happening, but we also have the ability to control it and to change it. And the breath is a tool to help us upregulate our energy as well as downregulate our energy. So we're using the breath in these first few moments to just pay attention to sort of downregulate the energy a little bit. To allow ourselves again to come to stillness relatively speaking. We are breathing. There is subtle movement happening, but our limbs are still. So let's begin to upregulate our energy with the breath. So bringing in slightly deeper inhales through your nose and out through the nose or the mouth. And continue just like that. We want deeper, fuller breaths. We just don't want to breathe so deeply to the point of strain or that we're gasping for the exhale or even the next breath. And bringing some more awareness into the torso, into the chest, ribs, and belly that are largely connected to and responsible for expansive breath. We'll bring our awareness to our chest. So inhaling, puff up the chest, feel the heart space lift toward the sky. And as you exhale, feel the back of the heart press into the earth beneath you. We'll take a couple more like that. Inhaling, feeling the chest expand in all directions. And exhaling, letting everything soften and relax a bit. One more time like that. Deep inhale through the chest. And let it go. And shifting our awareness down into our ribs. Inhale and feel the ribs expand out to the sides. And exhale, feel the ribs maybe come a little bit closer toward one another. Inhaling, ribs open up like the ribs on an umbrella. And exhale, the ribs soften and close, coming closer together. One more time like that. Flare the ribs up and out to the sides. And soften through the exhale. Now shifting our awareness down to the belly. Breathe in as fully as you can, sending the breath all the way down to puff up the belly. And then exhale, belly button comes in toward the spine. These deeper breaths will help to bring in more energy and vitality, filling up to your fullest capacity and softening on the exhale. One more time, inhale. Puffing up the belly like a beach ball, and exhale to let it go. And keep these deep breaths. Again, as long as you're not moving through strain or tension for these fuller breaths. So there's that divine balance between effort and ease. And then we'll wiggle the fingers, continuing to breathe deeply, wiggle the toes. Separate the knees here, reach the arms out to the sides, and start to windshield wipe your legs back and forth like windshield wipers. All right, we'll stretch the legs out long onto the mat, point through your toes, reach your arms overhead, full body stretch. And as you exhale, lower the arms back down alongside the body, bend the knees, bring the legs in toward the heart space, give yourself a loving squeeze and maybe rock a little bit from side to side. We'll bring hands onto the kneecaps and start to draw some circles in one direction. The legs can move in unison or they can move in their own direction. And then we'll pause and then take those circles in the other direction. And then bringing the knees back in toward the heart space, give yourself a great loving squeeze, holding at the back of the knees or at the front of the shins. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, lower the feet back down onto the ground. We're going to reach the arms alongside the body, palms face down, and then shift off to one side to bury that opposite shoulder blade, and then do the same thing on the other side. So we're just tucking those shoulder blades beneath us to lift the heart. Scoot your heels in towards your seat as best you can. And then on the inhale, press firmly through the soles of the feet, lift the hips off the earth, and see if you can keep your thighs squeezing together in a parallel shape or like a number 11, okay? Try not to let the knees come apart into a V shape. Want to keep the glutes squeezing tightly, pressing firmly into the bottoms of the feet. Also pressing firmly into the back of the hands and the ridge of the shoulders here to help you balance for bridge pose. Take a big breath in, see if you can lift your hips a little bit higher. And as you exhale, slowly roll the spine back down onto the earth. Good, and then swish the knees from side to side a little bit here. And then the next time that your knees fall over to the left, you're going to keep them there. Right leg will stack over the left. And then arms come out to the sides with the palms face up. So it's up to you how much of a bend you want to have in your knees. Maybe the knees come further away from the upper body. Maybe you bring more of a bend and scooch the legs in closer toward the belly. Totally up to you. Take a deep breath in, looking up toward the sky. And as you exhale, shift the gaze over to the right side, maybe gazing past your right fingertips. And then we're going to lift the knees back through center and start to find those swishes from side to side again, your windshield wiper legs. And the next time that the legs fall over to the right, keep them there. Left leg stacking over the right. Left hip stacking over the right hip. Arms are still out to the sides, palms face up. And then on your next exhale, slowly start to shift the gaze to look over to the left. Take one more round of breath here. And then we'll inhale the knees back through center. Maybe windshield wipe a little bit again from side to side. Slowly lifting the energy, we're going to bring all of those movements that we just explored together. Okay, so listen carefully. As you inhale, bring the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a great loving squeeze. As you breathe out, lower the feet down onto the ground, arms by your sides. Inhale to lift the hips up and off the earth, pressing through the soles of the feet for the bridge pose. Exhale, hips come back on down. Inhale to bring the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a great loving squeeze. And as you exhale, arms to the sides, take the legs over to the left for that twist. Take a big breath in here and out. Inhale through center. Knees are back toward the chest. And then as you exhale, float the legs over to the right side for that twist. Arms are still to the side. Big breath in. And let it go. Inhale to come back up through center. Bring the knees in toward the chest. And as you exhale, lower the feet down onto the ground. Inhale, lifting up for your bridge pose, pressing into the soles of the feet, squeezing the glutes together. Exhale, lower the hips back down onto the earth. Inhale, knees come in towards your chest. Exhale, twisting over to the left side, knees to the left, gaze to the right for your twist. A big breath in here, and a full exhale out. Inhale, knees come back up through center. And exhale, taking those legs over to the right and gaze to the left. One round of breath. On your next inhale, bring the knees back up through center. Give yourself a big squeeze. And exhale, feet come back on down. We'll move through that one more time. Inhale, lift the hips for your bridge pose. Squeeze the thighs together. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, knees into the chest. And exhale, take your twist, knees left, gaze over to the right. One round of breath. Coming back up through center on your inhale. Exhale, knees to the right, gaze to the left. One more round of breath. And as you inhale, coming back up through center, give yourself a great loving squeeze. Bring your hands behind the shins here, or behind the knees rather, and then start to rock and roll along the length of your spine. We're finding momentum to come up into a seat and up and around into a tabletop shape. All right, take your time, there's no rush. And we'll meet in a tabletop. So once you're on your hands, spread your fingers well, make sure there's lots of space in between each digit. And you want to shift the shoulders over the wrists as best you can. If you have sensitive wrists, it's totally okay to walk your hands a little bit forward of your shoulders. That'll take a little bit of tension off there. And also pressing firmly through all parts of the finger pads, through all knuckle joints, are going to help you to also maintain a little bit less pressure in the wrists. And then look back at your legs, make sure that the knees are about underneath the hips. And if you can see your lower legs at all, scooch them out to the sides until they disappear, okay? We're gonna take a few rounds of cat-cow. So as you inhale, arch the spine, lifting the crown of your head and the tail up toward the sky. Exhale, round the spine, press the earth away, tuck your tailbone and the top of your head down toward the earth. And see if you can link this up with your breath, inhaling to arch your spine, exhaling to round. Inhale for your cow, bony hips, bony shoulders like a cow. And exhale, big kitty cat stretch, reaching the back of the heart up toward the sky. And we're going to move through this for several more rounds. So try to link this up with your breath and let your breath be your guide. It'll tell you how quickly or slowly you need to move in and out of each posture. Just going to spotlight myself real quick. So we're still moving through our cat-cows. And I often like to close my eyes as I move through cat-cow so I can feel into the articulation of the spine as it rounds and sways. All right. And then from here, we're going to come into a neutral spine. You're going to extend your right leg out to the side. Okay. And then arms are still, our shoulders are still over the wrists. And we're going to start to rock forward and backward on that left knee. Okay. You're going to shift with the shoulders back over the wrists. Pick up your right leg and you're going to swing it all the way around to the left side. Take a peek past your left shoulder, see if you can see your right foot. And then we're going to start to find some gentle rocks forward and backward. All right. Now listen very carefully. I'm going to shift off to the side so that you can see me. You want to take your left leg and scooch it over to the right a little bit so that you make room for the right knee to come down onto the ground. And then from here, start to walk your hands in towards your body. Hips will stack over the heels and fold forward any amount. So depending on where you are in your practice, this might not be a very big movement. You might be up here, and this is totally fine. And maybe you're somewhere further up as well. Okay, from all positions, just take deep breaths, thinking about reaching through the crown of your head to elongate the spine as you energetically reach back through the hips down toward the ground. Okay, so this is a nice glute stretch, IT band stretch. Gets into the deep hip flexors, which is a great stretch if you find that you do a lot of sitting in your work or your regular recreational life. We're also getting a bit of a stretch in the low back here. And that big flap of a muscle on the back called the latissimus dorsi. All right, from here, we're gonna come on up, uncross that leg. So that right knee is right underneath the hip again. You're gonna take that left leg now and scooch it out to the left. So it's gonna come off of your mat. Walk your left hand forward about a handprint or so and straighten out the right leg behind you. So this is what I look like from a side profile. Press firmly into your left hand and reach up and over for a supported side angle. And then find some wrist rolls with that right hand. Great, you guys are doing great. And then find some stillness here. Reach actively through your right fingertips as you plant down and even roll the outer edge of your right foot down toward the ground. Taking a big breath in and out. Inhaling, getting long and expansive. And as you exhale, bring it back around into a tabletop, onto hands and knees. And we'll move through one cat-cow here. Inhaling to arch your spine. And exhaling to round and puff up the back of the heart. Good. And then coming into a neutral spine, we'll walk that left leg out to the side now, and we'll find those gentle rocks forward and backward. So you don't have to come all the way back onto your heel, just as far as feels good for you. That is your healthy edge, as we like to call it, where you feel like you're getting a deep stretch, but you're not moving into the realm of pain. So a little discomfort is okay. That means there's change happening, but obviously we don't want any pinching or acute feelings of discomfort. Okay. Shifting with the shoulders back over the wrists. Pick up that left leg, swing it all the way over to the right. Take a peek past your right shoulder. See if you can check out that foot behind you, a little neck stretch, and then start to rock forward and backward on the ball of that foot. All right, we're gonna try that little funky stretch for the hips. So from here, become aware of your right leg and scooch it over to the left a teeny bit, just to make room for that knee to come down, that left knee. And then walk the hands back any amount that feels accessible for you to hang out in a space where you feel a stretch in your right glute, maybe even in the IT band, and maybe even somewhere else, maybe in the low back, as I mentioned before. Maybe you feel it in your deep hip flexors. And we use the breath to help us to sit with the transformation and change that we're making in our bodies. So we take in the breath to help lift us. And we use the exhale to help us to move a little bit more deeper into the posture. All right. And then coming on up nice and slow, stacking those shoulders back over the wrists. You're going to pick up that left knee, uncross it, and then take your right leg and scooch it out about 90 degrees or so. And then balance onto your right hand to come on up. Pressing firmly into your right hand for a supported side angle. Reaching the left leg long. And then find some wrist rolls. And press firmly enough into that right hand that you can come out of the shoulder. Just notice if you're kind of hanging out in there. Press and activate your strong arm muscles to help keep you lifted here. All right. And then on the exhale, lower that left hand down. Collect your left leg in for tabletop and one cat-cow. Inhale to arch. And exhale to round. Press the earth away through your palms. And then from here, we'll bring our knees wide, big toes together to touch, sit back over the heels, walk the arms forward for child's pose. Third eye comes down onto the earth. So it might feel good here to gently rock your third eye from side to side. Little brow massage, little soothing rocking from side to side. We're massaging out the thoughts, massaging out the worries. On your next inhale, lift your head from the earth just enough so you can look in between your hands, up toward the top of your mat. And then from here, you're going to start to walk the elbows forward, lower the third eye back down onto the ground, and you're going to bring the palms of the hands to touch at the back of the head. Reverse prayer hands in a child's pose. And if you can, see if you can walk the elbows even further to get more of a stretch and extension in the triceps. We're going to take about 2 to 3 more breaths here in your child's pose with the prayer hands. And then very slowly re-extend your arms, bring the palms onto the earth and start to walk the hands underneath the shoulders. And then lightly press yourself on up. Gather the knees together, and we're coming forward into a tabletop once again. We're going to stretch our right leg out long behind us. And then we're going to bend the knee and bring it up and out to the side. This one's called fire hydrant, probably for very obvious reasons. And then you're going to lower the right foot on the outside, somewhere on the outside of the right hand, okay? And you want your toes off at an angle. So your heel may still be on the mat, and the toes are going to be off, okay? And then tuck your back toe so you can shift your knee in space a little bit. And then roll onto the outer edge of that right foot for a lizard's lunge. Okay, and then from here, you can prop yourself up onto your fingertips. Maybe you ball up the hands and balance on the backs of the knuckles. Okay, and do your best to balance that foot on the outer edge of that foot. And start to maybe rock a little bit from side to side. Getting a little bit more mobility in the hips. All right. And then we'll lower the sole of the foot back down onto the ground. You're going to start to heel toe that foot in somewhere toward the center of the mat. So it won't be totally center. It'll be like right center. And then slowly, slowly, slowly start to walk the hands back in toward the hips and come on up to a kneeling position. If you're feeling quite wobbly here, what you can do is heel toe that foot back out to the right, and that'll give you a little bit more surface area to work with. So it's the difference of train tracks versus a tightrope, because a tightrope is definitely more of a challenge to balance than having the feet kind of side by side or in their own lane. So start with your hands on your hips here. And we want to make sure that that knee doesn't travel past that ankle. Okay. So if your ankle is all the way back here and your knee is ahead of that, wiggle the toes forward. And the reason for that is because it protects our knee. When we have the knee ahead of the ankle, we're putting more pressure on our ACL, on that knee joint, than we really need to. So keeping the knee stacked over the ankle or even behind it would be even better. Take a big breath in, squeeze your elbows together behind you, lifting the heart, maybe look up to where the wall meets the ceiling. And as you exhale, start to shift the hips forward for a low lunge, lengthening out this left quad. Okay, you might choose to stay here with your hands on your hips, or you could reach your arms out to the sides. This kind of acts as a counterbalance or counterweight. Or you could reach your arms up into a V shape. Or if it feels okay on the shoulders, you can reach the arms up into more of a number 11 or parallel to one another. Okay, so lots of different variations with the arms. And maybe you're somewhere in between, something I didn't mention, okay? Maybe your arms are more down here into an inverted V shape. Wherever you are, take a deep breath in, hug the belly in toward the spine and take some of that back bend out of the low back. And as you exhale, maybe sink a little bit further into your lunge, okay? Could just be a micro movement. All right, we're gonna add on a little bit of a challenge here for those that want it. Inhale, reach your arms up as high as you can. As you exhale, twist open out to your left. So I have my right arm forward and my left arm back. Okay. Reaching into this little bit of a twist here, a revolved lunge. Okay. You could stay here. If you want more still, you can tick-tock the arms like 6 and 12 on a clock, right fingertips up, left fingertips are reaching that thigh behind you. And maybe it just reaches, the fingertips just reach down toward the earth, or maybe you make contact with the thigh, or maybe even the lower leg. Okay? So taking a deep breath in wherever you are, shift the gaze up if it's not already. Taking a big breath in. And as you exhale, cartwheel your arms down toward the ground. Walk your right hand over to the left of that right foot. Shift the hips back. Bring the right leg alongside the left, and then sit back into an embryo pose. So embryo is a little bit different than child's. We have our legs together, all the way together to kiss. And then you're lowering the third eye, the hairline, or the crown of the head to the earth, arms alongside the body. Taking several rounds of breath here to reset. So we did a little bit of a back bend there with that twisted, revolved lunge. So it's nice to have a little counterbalance pose to reset the spine. So in this case, we're rounding the spine as a counter to the little bit of a back bend that we received. Take 2 to 3 more breaths here in this shape. And then as you're ready, gather up the hands underneath the shoulders to press yourself on up. We'll meet in our tabletop shape. Stretch your left leg out behind you now. And then you're going to swing it out to the side, bend the knee, try to bring that knee up toward the elbow for that fire hydrant. And then bring the foot forward. If you need to wiggle the toes forward, that's totally cool. And just a reminder, that foot is off at an angle. Heel on the mat, toe off. Okay. And then from here, roll onto the outer edge of that left foot. You can balance onto hands here, or maybe onto the backs of the knuckles. Really just whatever feels best for you in your body. If you happen to have blocks, you can place hands onto blocks. All right. And then lower the sole of that foot back down onto the ground. You're going to start to heel toe that foot to left center of the mat. And then slowly but surely come on up, hands onto the hips for our low lunge here. Really what we're in is called a proposal pose. So we're not totally sunken into our lunge yet. We're more upright. Both legs are at about a 90-degree angle. And if you need that stability, walk that left foot out to the side a little bit. Again, making sure that knee doesn't travel past the ankle for safety. Okay. Even when you lunge forward, you want to make sure that at least the knee stays stacked over the ankle. Okay. So from here, take a variation of arms. Maybe you want to keep the hands onto the hips, out to the sides somewhere, maybe up toward the sky. Okay. Wherever you are, make sure you can maintain a smooth, fluid breath. And then on your next exhale, maybe explore sinking a little lower into your lunge to find that nice quad stretch, even getting into the deep abdominals, the psoas here. Using the breath to help see you through these holds in our postures. Okay, so you're welcome to stay right here, or if you want to open up into that twist, you're going to swing that right arm out to the side to open up here. And I'm going to encourage you to energetically press your right hip forward and your left hip back to square the hips off with the front of the mat. As you reach back through your right fingertips, left fingertips reach forward. You can stay here. This is one wonderful variation, or tick-tock the arms like 6 and 12 on a clock. Left fingertips up, right fingertips down. Maybe those right fingertips find the back of the thigh or the lower leg, or maybe they're just energetically reaching down toward the earth. Lots of different options here. Take a deep breath in and out. One more big breath in. And exhale, cartwheel the arms down. Shift the hips back so you can swing that left leg back alongside the right. Legs are all the way together. Sit back over the heels, lowering third eye, hairline, or crown of the head onto the earth. Arms alongside the body to give those shoulders a little bit of a break. And then right here from your embryo pose, you're going to start to rock side to side a little bit on the shins, massaging out either the third eye, the hairline, or the crown, depending on what's connected to the earth. And then very slowly gather the hands underneath the shoulders to press yourself on up. And we're going to come on to our belly. If for any reason you cannot be on your belly, just come over onto your right side because we're all going to meet there anyway. And everybody reach your right arm out to the side, palm face down. Left hand is going to be underneath your left elbow. I'm tented up onto my fingertips here, okay, like little spider legs. And then you're going to use your left fingertips to press into the earth to roll onto your right side body. See if you can relax the head down onto the ground. And adjust your right arm in any way that might feel better for you and sustainable in this posture called Iron Cross. So you could, if needed, temporarily roll back onto the belly, maybe take a different position with the arm. Another option is to goalpost the arm or bend at the elbow. This is a deep chest and heart opener. We've prepared for that quite a bit here with our low lunge or little back bend, our bridge pose. Option, if you like, to take that top leg and plant it onto the earth behind you. Lifting more of the belly up and off of the earth. Take a full round of breath in this posture. And then slowly lower back onto your belly or shift around onto your left side if you can't be on your belly. And then we'll reach the left arm out. Come up onto the right fingertips. And then same thing, roll over onto the left side. Adjust that left arm as needed. If you want to bring a bend into the elbow, lift the arm, lower the arm, wherever feels more accessible and sustainable for you. And we're keeping those right fingertips planted onto the earth. See if you can plant the right side of the head onto the earth. And then maybe take that top leg and plant it onto the ground behind the other. Option only, you could keep the legs stacked. Take one more round of breath here. And if you have that top leg bent, please re-lengthen it, rolling back onto the belly. Okay, if you can't be on your belly, flip around onto your back. Otherwise, bring the elbows nice and wide, stack the palms, and rest the third eye. If you have to be on your back, just come around, fully planted onto the spine, arms stretched out to the sides, palms face up. So if you're on your belly like I am, this is known as crocodile pose. It's a very, very mild back bend, the baby of all back bends. And then from here, bend your knees, roll out the ankles. You can rest your chin on the backs of the hands as you windshield wipe the legs from side to side, massaging out the tops of the legs, the thighs, the quadriceps, even the low belly and the hips, the front side of the hips. All right, and then from here, we're gonna flip around onto our back. Okay, so we're gonna come back into our bridge pose, just like we did at the beginning of practice. So scoot your heels in towards your seat as best you can. Push into the backs of your arms to shimmy your shoulder blades together beneath you, and then arms alongside the body, palms face down. On your next inhale, press firmly through the soles of the feet, squeeze the thighs together to lift the hips up and off the earth. An option here to stay right where you are or interlace the fingers behind the low back. Straighten through the arms if accessible, but try to keep the pinky edge of your hands connected to the ground beneath you. Wherever you are, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs together, press into the soles of the feet to lift the hips up. Notice if the chin is caving in toward the chest, lift it up and away just a little bit to keep a nice open spaciousness between the chin and the chest. Okay, take one more big breath in here, wherever you are. If you have the bind, release, hands alongside the body, and everybody lower the spine back down onto the earth. Just gonna take a moment here to reset. Spine fully planted onto the ground. And then we're gonna take our bridge pose one more time. So scooch the heels back in toward the sits bones, if you've lost that, and the feet are about hip width distant. Arms alongside the body. And then as you're ready, press into the soles of the feet. Squeeze the thighs together, squeeze the glutes together, lift the hips, balancing on the backs of the shoulders or the ridge line of the shoulders and the back of the head, as well as the soles of the feet. If you took a bind the first time around, maybe try that again, but with the other thumb on top, the way that feels funny and awkward. And see if you can straighten the arms, maybe bury the shoulder blades underneath you a little bit more, and keep the outer edges of the hands connected to the ground if you can. Taking a big breath in, lift the chin up and away from the chest. Exhale here, hips lifted. One more big breath in. And if you have the bind, move the hands out of the way. Everybody lower your spine down onto the ground. Let's take a full round of breath here, completely still. And then at one at a time, bring your knees in toward the heart space. Give yourself a great loving squeeze. Rock a little bit from side to side. And start to encourage the knees toward the armpit. So bringing the knees wider and wider. Okay. And then you can continue to rock like this. Maybe you would like to explore a happy baby. So lots of variations that we can take with happy baby. You could keep your hands here and just face the soles of the feet up toward the sky. Maybe take the backs of the knees, somewhere on the lower legs, maybe the ankles, the outer edges of the feet, the big toes. And maybe it feels good to rock side to side. Maybe you want to be completely still. Maybe exploring extending the leg one at a time. Maybe both at the same time. Just being a little bit playful and curious here, just like a baby. And take any movement that might feel good for you in your body. All right. If you're rocking, come into stillness. And we'll all take a deep breath in through the nose together and out through the mouth. If they're not already, rebend the knees. Bring the soles of the feet together to touch mid-air. Release hold of the legs and then lower the feet down onto the ground. Soles of the feet still touching. Legs butterflied out to the sides. This is known as bound angle, aka cobbler pose. So if it feels more comfortable, you could shift the heels further away from the seat or maybe scooch them in closer towards your seat. Totally up to you. Just find what feels best for you. Press into the backs of your arms once again and bury those scapula, shoulder blades beneath you. And then do whatever is intuitive with the arms. Maybe you bring them onto the body somewhere, maybe onto the legs or the hips, maybe out to the sides. And we're just going to take a few rounds of breath here in our hip opener. If this is feeling like too much in your hips, what you can do is ball up the hands, bring them to the outer edges of the thighs, like up toward the glute area. And that can serve as a bit of support here to take some of the stretch off the hips. And if you have a blanket or a cushion or a pillow or something like that, you can use those as well. All right, if this posture is serving you, you can stay here as your final resting posture. Or maybe you want to take a more classic Shavasana, extending the limbs long. Let the toes flop out to the sides, maybe windshield wipe the feet a little bit just to help the surrender and relaxation of those legs. Okay, don't be afraid to take up space. Maybe bring your legs into more of a V shape. And then once again, for the last time in our practice, push into the backs of the arms and bury those shoulders beneath you. The scapula, the shoulder blades, act as a shelf for your heart so that your heart can be nice and broad. And then extend your arms alongside the body, palms face up, and see if you can rotate the biceps away from your center line. Thumbs descend down toward the earth. You may choose to close your eyes or keep a soft gaze up toward the sky, nothing in particular. Take a deep breath in all the way from your toes to the tippy top of your head. Open mouth, exhale. Surrender all effort and move into complete ease in your final pose, Shavasana, corpse pose. Please draw in a deeper breath and let it go as you're ready. We'll reawaken with slow, soft, subtle movement. Just start by lifting and lowering the eyebrows. Maybe you can wiggle your ears. Open and close your mouth a few times. Rock your head from side to side. Lick your lips. Moisten the gums. Swallow. Do whatever you need here. And start to wiggle your fingers, letting them dance close to the earth beside you. Wiggle the toes. Point and flex the feet. Roll out the wrists. And then bring the arms up and overhead. Zip up your legs together. Point through the toes. Reach for the fingertips. Get long. Little arch of the low back. And then on your next exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows, roll to one side. Use your bottom arm as a pillow for your head. Top arm comes onto the earth in front of your heart space. And then slowly press into that top hand to come on up, nice and slow. Maybe keep your eyes closed or a soft gaze down onto the earth. And come into any seat that would suit you. Bringing hands together at heart center, this gesture of gratitude, humility, devotion, union. Reflect on your journey here this afternoon. And give yourself so much love for showing up for yourself. When you show up for yourself, you show up for the community and you show up for the world, making it a better place. Taking a deep breath in, lift your thumbs to your third eye, your seat of intuition and true sight. Exhale, a little bow forward, and we bring gratitude to this ancient practice that brings us here. Gratitude and many thanks to all the teachers, gurus, and guides who have come before us to show us the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Deanna. It's my honor and pleasure to lead you through this sacred practice. The light within me bows to and honors the light within you. Namaste.